Hi, my name is Lauren. This is my ID. Today we're going to be talking about the people who you would find in the courtroom, and we're going to start it off with the plaintiff. They are usually the ones who bring the case to the court, and they are also usually usually seen in civil wrongs case, like they're labeled as plaintiff. Like, for example, my dad is a plaintiff at the moment for a case that he is trying to get handled. Next, you have your respondent, and that is usually the state or whoever won in the last court. So, for example, Gaul versus United States. The United States is the respondent since they won in a sense, and Gaul would be the person who is appealing his conviction. Next, you have your accused. That is the person who's being accused of committing a crime. They are also the person who causes harm in a civil wrongs case. They're also known as the defendant. So the person that my dad is suing is the defendant. Next, we're going to talk about the prosecutor. Now, he is the one who decides whether or not to charge the offender. They work with the law enforcement. They give sentencing recommendations at sentencing hearings. They visit crime scenes, and they interview the witnesses. They review physical evidence, and they also can provide search warrants for the police officers to get what they need, and to get what they need for to be able to charge the victim, or not the victim. It's a long day. I am so sorry. To charge the offender or the suspect. Next, we're going to talk about the DA, and that is the defense attorney. Now they defend the offender, and the offender has the right to the Sixth Amendment, where if they can't afford an attorney, one will be provided for them. It's stated in the Miranda laws. But the defense attorney, they usually handle criminal cases only, and they don't do conflict cases. So if there's two people involved in a robbery, you have your getaway driver and you have your robber. And the robber gets represented by one law firm, from one attorney from one law firm. The getaway driver has to be represented by another attorney, but from a different law firm. So there's no conflict. And there's really that it's really that like that. There's no conflict. And if the getaway driver can't find a lawyer, again, the state would have to help find one for him. Next, we have the judge. They are the ones who want to keep order and make sure that the trial runs smoothly. The courtroom is silent, and so that way he can hear everything. He wants everything orderly. Okay. He also determines if the evidence that's being brought to his attention or being presented is either illegal or improper. He also needs to inform the jury of the laws that pertain to the case. He also has to determine the facts and decide on the case himself, so that way he can finally sentence the accused or offender. We're going to talk about the victim next. They are the person who is unfortunately the one who is directly harmed by the crime. They have the right to a speedy trial, but they don't get to force the state to prosecute. They also have other rights as well, like they have the right to be treated fairly. They have the right to They have the right to be protected. They have the right to be notified about court proceedings. They have the right to attend the court proceedings, which I believe they have to either way. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't research that part. They get to confer with government attorneys. They have restitution, and as well as they are allowed to know how what the sentencing was, what the conviction was, what the imprisonment is, and when the offender is being released. They have the right to know all of that. Next, we're going to talk about the police that you find in the courtroom, or the bailiff. Now, they help the judge make sure that things are being run smoothly, that the trial is smooth. They administer the oaths, so they're the ones who are like, put your right hand on the Bible, and or is it your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand, or the right hand on the Bible and raise the left hand? I forgot. But they are the ones who inform the people who are about to take the oath that if they're found lying, there can be a perjury charge against them. And they also mark exhibits. Next, we're going to talk about the witness. And the witness, they are usually the plaintiff's witness, government witness, or the defense witness. And they usually just give the testimony of what they saw, what they encountered, or how they were able to get this picture, or how were they able, their evidence basically. And again, they are under oath, like the plaintiff and the defendant, they are under oath. And if again found lying, they could be charged with perjury as well. Next, we're going to talk about the jury. We're going to talk about the jury, and they are 12 members. They do not interpret the law. They go off of the judge's directions, and they have to make a verdict on evidence only. So they're allowed to take notes. And I believe I don't think once the trial starts, I don't think they get switched out. I'm not entirely sure. I think I read somewhere that if it's for a long period of time, like if a trial lasts like 12 months, almost a year, or longer, that they might be switched out. I'm not entirely sure. I have to go back and check. But they are allowed to take notes, because depending on what the offender is being charged with, there could be 22 counts. There could be more, there could be less. So they should keep track of that as well. That's all of the 10 people that you would normally find in a courtroom. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.